Okay, guys, I'm going to redirect this thing briefly up to the screen here so that it sees this. Let me verify that it sees it all. I believe it does. Okay, so I've kind of adjusted some of the decision-making process up here for you guys. So again, the first one is very simple. The project statement that clients ask you to either choose make it visible or make it hidden, right? That's no problem. Second thing is, in deciding kind of where you're going to place it, which of the approaches you want to pick for it. You sort of all did that, right? Then the next thing is to place the cube and verify that it's oriented to true north. Most of you guys did that, right? The next thing that you guys should have done is to analyze the relationship of those decisions. Hidden, which access point, and putting it on the site oriented to true north. So, all right, how's that work with the approach that I selected? Do I have to move it a little bit to the north or to the south? Do I need to move it east or west? What do I have to do? So, again, what I want you guys to notice is that you're going to make some decisions and then you're going to think about it, right? Then, all right, based on the above, decide where the entry porch is. So all of you are working on that. And now we go back to one of those, all right, stop and look at it again. So notice how we're making decisions and we're stopping and looking at it, and then we might make adjustments. That's part of the design process. So I kind of did, I picked one that I haven't done before, which is this entry path. I'm going to kind of tilt it down to there. And I want you guys to note that the last thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to draw a floor plan with the entry porch. Let's talk about that a little more after we look at this. So I'm going to tilt this down and see if this is seeing it all. Let me go back over here. Look. I can go up a little. That's good. Okay, so here's one that I just did right now. I chose to make it hidden, right? And I chose entry approach path number 2. So I kind of put it over here. I oriented it on these axes, right? So I looked at where entry point number 2 aligned with where I was putting the building, and I chose to put the porch to the north side, not the south side. I made a decision. It was just kind of, this one was kind of intuitive. I said, all right, it has to be 5 feet deep. It's written, right? So let it be written. And then I said, I think I'm going to make it 14 feet. All right? So it's just a little bit shy of halfway. And I marked the center point of that. And what I did is I put my approach path so that it was at a 90-degree angle to the face of the building. Okay, so you can see that face of the building and the approach path is 90 degrees to the entrance. Okay, so that's creating my axial approach to that porch. All right, and I moved the box around a few times as I was doing this. So, all right, so now I'm going to put this to the side, and I want you guys to draw me a plan of this. Okay. So I want you to draw me a plan of that, but at 1/4 inch to a foot. What scale is this at? 1/8, correct. All right, so I'm going to do the sort of cheating way of doing this. I'm going to use my box. I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to lightly draw a line around. And I'm only doing this because I want to kind of keep things moving as quickly as I can. So there's my general outline. I can darken those lines in a little bit, although I'm not going to do too much of that because right now what I want to do is use it for thinking purposes. Okay? All right, so my porch is on this corner, and it's 5 feet deep. So at 1/4 of an inch to a foot, that's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. It's right there. So 5/4 and 14 feet is 8, 9, 10. 4 and 4 is 8, 12, 13, 14. I'm too lazy to go get my scale. So I'm doing math in my head. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw my porch. My porch is right here. All right, so there is kind of the same thing I've got over there, but at a larger scale, right? What I want you guys to do is I want you guys to show the walls also. So I'm going to kind of just lightly sketch them in here. Now I'm doing it light because I'm going to be doing some erasing in a moment. Okay, so there's my porch, there's where the walls are. So the next thing that might come to mind might be, where do I put my sunset porch? The sunset porch has to be on the west elevation of the building, so it has to be over here. And part of what might influence where I place that thing is this big indent that I've got over here. Okay, so that one, you're allowed to put it at this side, you're allowed to put it on that side, or you're allowed to put it anywhere in the middle. So that one, this one had to be in a corner, right? So it had to be to an edge, let's say, so I don't confuse you guys with the word corner. All right, this one can be anywhere, and part of what helps you to decide that is to see how much room is being taken up by this. All right, so one of the things I could do is I can say, all right, well, if this one's on this side, I'm going to put the other one on that side. Okay, so that's easy enough. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, all right, 5 feet in, about right here. And how wide do I want to make that thing? Well, I've got a minimum, so I think maybe what I'll do is I'll go to the halfway point of the building, right? So halfway point of the building would be 15 feet wide. So that's about the halfway point of the building. So if I do that, I've got my sunset porch located here. And now I'm going to kind of sketch in this line. I'm going to erase that line because now, let's just assume that it's some sort of a deck or something, right? So there, could be boards there or something. The point I'm trying to make is that there's 2 points that I want you guys to really key in on. One, design is constantly evolving and changing. And that what you do in one place affects the decisions that you make in another. You can see in that chain of events that we've got up there that there's been things that may make you rethink. All right, I've got to move the building this way a little bit, because I don't want to have this big bend in my walkway. I might have to move the building back that way so that the axis lines aligns with it. But it's all interlinked together, okay? And you've got to be constantly willing to kind of reanalyze, relook, and rethink about how those pieces come together. And understand that there's probably no one right way to do it. I chose the midway point so that it's visible on the outside, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, so after this, you guys can start to kind of think about, where do you want to place your podium? Where do you want to place that piece of artwork? Understanding that where you put the artwork, you're going to have a window exactly west from it, the size of the artwork. Okay, because remember, on the equinox, the sun sets exactly west, and your client's asking you to illuminate that picture with the final rays of the sun. Okay, where you put the podium is going to have an effect on where the windows are at the summer solstice, right, at the equinoxes, and at the winter solstice. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is to draw this floor plan based on your decision and decide where you're putting the sunset porch. Then after that, I want you to draw a section view. Hand me a piece of paper over there. So you guys are all in Rhino learning what a section is. You slice through the building with the clipping plane. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a slice through the building, right, so that we can see the angle of the sun in the summer. I got to make sure that the camera can see this. So I'm going to take a slice through the building this way, because at solar noon the sun is exactly south, right? And so in the wintertime it's down here. In the springtime and fall it's there, and in the summertime it's up here. See how the angle changes from 32 to 78 degrees or something like that. I want to be able to show that on my drawing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show my cube. And remember, since it's a cube, it's, how big is it? It's 30 feet, right? So I can just draw this once again. Now, this young lady right here asked me something about the raised floor and the position of things. If you read your project prompt, right, there's a roof thickness, and the roof thickness is 9 inches, correct? If you measure it, it's 9? Okay, so I'm going to kind of draw that at 9 inches. Where's the floor?
3 feet.
So the floor is 3 feet from the bottom of the cube, huh? So that's going to create a raised floor condition. So I've got to show my floor further up. All right, so there is the 3 walls, but the floor isn't down here at the bottom. It's 3 feet up from that. So take this, 3 feet in inches is 3/4 of an inch and 1/4 inch to a foot. The floor is right there. It's up 3 feet. So I'm going to take and draw the floor in there. And I'm going to assume that it has the same thickness. Okay. And so I'll darken, I'm going to just sketch darken this up. Incidentally, these sketches that you're making for me need to go into your binder. Okay? Okay, so there's that. I'll erase these lines because we don't need them anymore. And that's what the section looks like, all right, of the building. Now, this section is being cut in this direction, right? It's like we're taking this box and we're slicing it across here and opening it up. And the reason that we need to do this section is because the decision of where to put the podium is going to be partially predicated upon those angles that you guys need to find, right, for the latitude and longitude of this site, right? And so what I would suggest that you guys do is know where those are, and I would suggest that you avoid the corner. You don't have to. If you want to, you can make an opening in the corner, but it's harder. So unless you really are tied to it, right, you need to kind of say, all right, well, maybe I'm 30 degrees is about right there, so I can put a window in here. And 50 degrees is there. It's like, oh, I better move this way some. So if I move the podium this way, now it misses the corner. You don't have to. You are allowed to put it in the corner. Okay? All right, don't forget that, how tall is the podium? 3 feet, 36 inches. So it's about that tall, and it's 1 foot by 1 foot, right? And the object that sits on top of it is how big?
12 inches.
12 inches. I'm just going to draw a 12-inch ball. So that ball, I'm going to have to, when I do my windows, I'm going to have to make sure that the bottom of the ball is illuminated and that the top of the ball is illuminated at the angle of the sun. at that time of year, and that'll help me to decide where I'm going to put my windows. Okay? You've got to draw the two lines because you remember you're going to illuminate the whole thing on the equinox. So there's that. I'll hold it up so the camera can see it and so that you guys can all see it. Does anybody know what the angle of the sun is at the winter solstice at your site? No? Did you guys use Sun Earth tools yet?
Yeah.
You don't remember it? No? Okay. You guys are going to have to look it up. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I can tell you that it's in the low 30 range. But you do need to know that. And this drawing that you guys are doing for me in a sketch format, you guys are going to be doing very precisely in Rhino. And when you do it in Rhino, you're going to want that line. You're going to want that line to be at that right, correct angle. Okay? All right. So, like I said, the next thing I want you guys to do is to draw this up, and that'll help you make a decision on where you want to put your porch. Okay? All right. Have at it.